For our final question, Mr. Semil will speak first. Why should the voters of Ewing elect or re-elect you to be a member of Township Council?
Thank you. I believe that my theme speaks for itself. I've been about for the last 11 years on this council, putting the public's interest first. And by all means, that means engaging our public into understanding that our civic responsibility collectively, it's just not me as a member of council, but it's about you who are all members of this community, paying your taxes, looking for services, looking for the best management of this township possible, to be involved in these processes. You've heard on occasion some statements about why we ought not go on a referendum for certain things like a bonding proposal. Yes, I am one that advocated a referendum on bonding, whether it's non-binding or not. The public needs to understand what we're expending dollars on and specifically why we feel we have that need. We currently are engaged in a process that goes by way of ordinance, and we do have a provision that says, oh, the public's invited. And we have put a little section in the newspaper. If you are familiar with the newspaper, the legal section, in fine print, it tells you that the township is going to review an ordinance for a bonding. How many of you are going to see that? And how much initiative does it take to make it more pronounced that this body, your governing body, is going to consider something that is going to get into your pocketbooks than to get it out there in a very proactive way and say, it's your decision. Come help us make that determination by giving us your sentiments and your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Semil. Mr. Baxter.
Thank you. Thank you for this forum this evening. I want to say that before we leave. But in my 1 year that I've been on council, I think many people have gotten to know me. They've seen some of the changes that have taken place. And many of you know, I tell you from the start, I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant, and I'm here to serve the public. I work for you all. I'm a person that is going to work for every resident in Ewing. I'm not just working for one side or another side. I'm here to help everybody because collectively, when we all work together, Ewing is strong. Many of you have seen me out. I'm always out and about. When I ran last year, was being responsive and being accessible. And as you know, you guys see me all the time. You don't just see me around election time. You see me throughout the year, whether it's the talent show that takes place here, football games, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever's going on, I'm usually around. So you, as a citizen, have a conduit. I'm there. You can come to me and tell me any issue. And that's the way I will continue to play. I will continue to be a part. And I want you guys to use me as a resource because many people are thrown by government. But they see me, they know that they can come and talk to me and approach me. And we've talked about topics such as public safety, taxes, shared services. These are all great hot button topics. But you as a citizen, you guys have immediate needs. I have people that come to me and let me know that their street light is out, and I make sure that gets fixed. I have people who have water mains broken in front of their houses, been leaking in the street for 2 days. I make sure that gets fixed. You know, people tell me about their street needs paving. I'm there to advocate to make sure that gets fixed. So I'm there to help you in the immediate. You know, I'm also looking fiscally responsible for you, but I'm also there on your day-to-day. And many of you already know, and you've approached me with different issues, and I've done my best, and most of the time I've gotten it solved. So I would ask you, if I can do that in 1 year, give me a chance to do it for 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baxter. Mr. Lester.
I had to write it down because I'm not the greatest of public speakers, and I didn't want to miss anything before I departed tonight. Thank you again, Deacon, for this forum. When I returned from Iraq, I wanted to serve my community. I chose recreation because that's what inspired me to be the person I am today. I chose to coach youth football, 6 to 10-year-olds. Not just in football, but in life. I then expanded to baseball as a T-ball commissioner. In my efforts to improve the leagues I was involved in, I became frustrated with the current administration and current council. With pursuing small amounts of funding from the township, I began to feel ignored, misrepresented, and unappreciated. I believe in an accessible government. I feel accessible government breeds input and creates natural checks and balances. I was on the township website just yesterday, and the council agenda is 4 months behind. That's not access our taxpayers deserve. I believe in a participatory government where neighborhood associations aren't forced to protest community events. I feel the current council is apathetic to the needs of those very neighborhood associations. I believe the people need a voice. I believe I am that voice, and it is my honor to represent that frustration, Republican or Democrat. I'm a representative of the people, not the party. I believe transparency is our resolve. I, Edward W. Lester, will represent you in the most professional, ethical, and responsible way, the only way I know how. I look forward to working with any individual, regardless of party affiliation. November 6th, you too can help Ewing move in a new direction by electing George, Ron, and myself to town council. Allow us to be the check and balance needed to restore the very pride in Ewing that I hold inside my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lester. Ms. Keys-Maloney.
Thank you all for coming this evening. Thank you to the Observer and Dickin for moderating. You know, I was asked a couple weeks ago by an individual citizen who wanted to know, why did you decide to run? And quite simply, it's because Ewing is my home now. I chose Ewing as my home after college. The community embraced me, and I embraced it right back. And I see really running for council as an extension of my responsibility to that community. Whether through my work on the redevelopment agency or my involvement with the Ewing Lions, I think it's my job to make sure that the town that I live in has me working for it. And that's part of really kind of the fabric of my life. Let me explain. My dad's actually a retired minister. And so, you know, the reality is that my community has always been the church community or the town that we lived in. And so when I decided to plant some roots, I felt that same responsibility that I had growing up as a kid in a church who had to do, as my mom would often require us to do, the individual music requirements of the parish. What I bring to the table is unique, I think. I have both governmental experience as a lobbyist for the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association. Before that, I worked as the courts lobbyist. I know how budgeting works. I know how the individual aspects of government interrelate. I work regularly with everyone from Governor's Counsel's office to really individual parents and members that I have to deal with on a regular basis. You know, in addition to that, I am deeply involved in this community through my Lions work. It's amazing the amount of people that I've met through that, in addition to kind of the experiences I've had as redevelopment chair. But ultimately, I think I would ask you to choose me because I believe that we have the chance to move forward within this community in a very real way. We're at a crossroads, if you will. And we have a chance to either move forward into the 21st century or continue to kind of meander along. I think that we have a dynamic environment right now in Ewing, and that we have to embrace that and move forward and really make Ewing the best community that it possibly can be. And I hope to be part of that. And therefore, I'd ask for your vote on November 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keys-Maloney. Mr. Prykanowski.
Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Dickon, for your time, and for the Observer for doing this forum. What you've seen here tonight is a clear-cut difference between the candidates. You have a choice now to make come November 6th. Ms. Keys-Maloney alluded to the fact that we go into the 21st century or go along the stagnant way. Well, the current administration is still that stagnant way, and you have no checks and balances. That's why you need different people on that council. We need to have better communication with the citizenry, something we don't have now. One of the things that I've pressed for and have suggested to the current administration and council is that they videotape or live stream their meetings, because not everybody, as you can see, can come out to a meeting like this, and you can't come twice a month to a meeting. So it would be good if you could sit in your living room and look on a computer or have a time delay and come out. This is something that's been very resistive. Why? I have no idea. But that's the 21st century. One of my suggestions, too, is to have a quarterly e-bulletin that goes out to the community so that they know what's going on. Mr. Samil said about the bonding, and nobody knows about bonding. Well, that's true, but there are public hearings. But do you know about the public hearings? You're right, they're only about this big. Only thing I can promise you that if I'm elected, those council meetings will not be boring. We're going to bring a little bit of excitement and some new ideas to this council, and I hope you think seriously and give George, Ed, and myself a chance. Thank you. Remember us on November 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Prykanowski. Mr. Schroth.
Dick, and thank you. Thank you to the Ewing Observer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. As a lifelong area resident of Ewing Township, I have a vision for Ewing Township and a vision of its future. As we drive down Parkway Avenue, we turn into a town center or a transit village that is new. It is clean. It has coffee shops, cafes, restaurants, and businesses that we all frequent, that people come to, from not just here, from Yardley, from Bucks County, from Princeton. They fill our vacant houses as our economy rejuvenates here in Ewing Township, because it is a destination point. Frontier Airlines, flying out of the Trenton-Ewing Mercer Airport, is the destination, or the beginning, I should say, of your trip to Orlando, Florida, with your family to go to Disney World. Because of this development and because of this growth, our taxes go down. And we can finance things through bond work at the lowest interest rates that we have ever had. And it's not something you have to have special announcements for. It's something where you comply with the law and you do things the way it should be done. And people trust you because they've elected someone who they think has good judgment and is reasonable and has common sense and applies that to our community. I have a vision for Ewing Township that is even better than it is today and brighter, and I'd ask for your vote on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schroth. Mr. Steward.
Good evening, Dick and the Observer, my colleagues, and the public. Thank you for coming out tonight. For those who don't know me very well, I've had a pretty active life here in Ewing Township. Knights of Columbus, CCE, Easel, E-Cops. So like Jennifer, if I'm so busy, why am I here tonight running for council? Well, as it turns out, I've become very concerned that Ewing is not moving in the right direction. I'm concerned that a group of citizens had to picket community today to draw attention to a long-term problem that they are experiencing in their neighborhood. I want to take Ewing in a new direction. I'm concerned when I watch budgets and major spending plans get passed by council with little or no discussion, dialogue, or debate. I want to take Ewing in a new direction. I'm concerned when I watch Ewing approve new trash procedures, subcontract trash collection to a private company, and then request $500,000 through their capital budget for 2 new trucks. I want to take Ewing in a new direction. 20 years ago this November, the voters of Ewing Township began a process that changed our form of government from committee to mayor-council. In their final report, the commission states, and I quote, "We conclude that the mayor-council form of government would best serve Ewing citizens. In our opinion, this form clearly delineates the executive and legislative functions of government." And finally, quote, "This form also provides for better checks and balances." That was the goal. A separate, independent legislative body with more checks and balances for the citizens. But today, I'm sorry to say that I do not see us moving in the right direction. We're actually slipping back to where we started. My name is George Stewart. I'm running for Ewing Council, and I want you to give me the chance to take Ewing in a new direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Let's hear it for our candidates. Let's hear it for all our candidates.